join us and begin very shortly. Okay, I think we're all here, so let's start the webinar about inspections. So again, good morning, everyone. We're very pleased that you will spend the next hour together with Troels, myself, and our special guest today, Emma from Tabit. My name is Simone, and I work in the marketing department, and I will be your moderator for today's webinar. Just a bit of information before we begin. The webinar will be recorded and sent to you afterwards together with the presentation. You can also access the presentation under the handouts section to the right already now. And in the same section, you can also find our customer case with Tabit if you're interested in learning more about how Tabit uses SERTICA after Emma has shared her experiences. If you have any questions, please write them in the chat to the right and we will answer them during the webinar. And in the chat, I have already added the sign-up link for this webinar if any of your colleagues want to join here last minute. I think that was it. Troels, will you please introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you. Please confirm that you can hear me because I have had some technical. Thank you. Okay, thank you. Welcome everyone for this webinar where we are going to talk a little bit about managing inspections, internal inspections, technical inspections, and all sorts of inspections that you want to do on your own vessels. How you do that inside SERTICA. And I will also like to welcome Emma to join us here as guest speakers. I'm looking very much forward to learn about her journey or their journey in Tabit shipping on what they have been doing. Why can I change the slides? Are you doing that, Simone, for me?
I can change it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So my name is Troels Møller. I'm the Customer Success Manager. Emma Hermansson on the right side on the picture slide. Emma, can you please introduce yourself?
Yep. Hello, everyone. My name is Emma Hermansson, as Troels already said. I work as a marine superintendent in Tabit Shipping. And I have been working with SERTICA since 2017. And I do a lot of the implementation of new modules and so on of the system. Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you. Today we're gonna do a high-level introduction to SERTICA HSQE. Only sort of very basic. Then in order to set up and execute your inspections inside SERTICA, internal audits and so on, there are some configurations that you have to have in place in order for the system to work. I will sort of show that on a high level. At the end of the presentation, maybe we will not reach that point, but there is a lot of screen dumps of examples on how to do. All of these slides will be sent to you after the webinar so you can deep dive into them on your own. If we have time, we can potentially look at it. When we go to the demo inside SERTICA, I will show some of these screens, but not for a very long and detailed review. Then we are going to talk a little bit about how to plan and execute and follow up on inspections. Right now, I actually have some technical problems showing the inspection mobile device app, but hopefully I will solve this while I'm talking. So that's good. And we are also going to hear about Emma's experience within Tabit Shipping, working with strategically designing the inspection regime that Tabit Shipping is running, and what the results have been. And then at the end, we will jump into SERTICA and do a demo, and then also have a Q&A session. or Q&A in terms of you are allowed to write questions in the chat as we go along, and Simone, she will pick them up and either ask us as we go along, or we will have them in the end. It really can depend a little bit on the type of question. Okay, let's move on. I found the button now, Simone, so I'm good to go.
Good.
So first of all, I want to start with sort of an initial poll just to get you a little bit going. So I want to ask you if you are currently managing internal inspections and audits within SERTICA. And you have 5 options to answer. Yes, we are doing that, and we are also using the inspection app. Partly, and what I mean by partly is that it's only some departments. Typically, you could say there is an HSQE department and a technical department, and in some cases also vetting departments and maybe navigational departments. And if only some departments are using it, then that's something that we see sometimes. Maybe you are using it without the inspection app, and there hopefully Emma's topic will inspire you to start using the inspection app, or if you're using other tools or not using the inspection app at all. So please give your answers, and we will just leave it for 30 seconds for you to answer that one.
Troels, I think we lost you.
No, I'm still here.
Okay, but your camera isn't working, but as long as we can hear you.
Yeah, but I think I will get back now.
Okay.
It's very typical. I'm still trying while people are answering, trying to get this mobile device sharing working on my phone. Don't know how to fix it if we're not fixing it. Anyway, I think there's a steady state. We have 26% or 76% of the audience have answered. So let's move along. So we have a relatively even split among the conclusions or the answers. And I think hopefully we can get more to use the app. I think that's quite interesting that there is this gap, and also that the inspection is only used in some departments. That's quite interesting. So we need to do something there to inspire people to get going. Just as an introduction to a very basic introductions to the HSEQ system inside SERTICA. Here you can see that the HSEQ module as such has 9 or actually a little bit more modules that constitutes the entire functionality of HSEQ. I have highlighted here or hidden what we are not going to talk about, and so we can see what we're going to talk about today. So it's about activity management, things that can be planned ahead. It's about defining inspections and audits, and of course also using the event reporting module to follow up on observations that you do. When Emma comes on stage, she will also explain that they are using jobs, sort of, you could say, the maintenance part of SERTICA to do follow up on the technical inspections. And she has a very interesting perspective on Why is that? And so we are also linking the inspection module is also linked to the job module inside SERTICA. So how does it sort of on a high level flow wise work? So these are the things that we are talking about inside SERTICA: activity, inspections and audits, event reports, course analysis, and potentially sub-events. So these are sort of some add-ons that we can do. So the basic things are these three initial boxes, and then of course we have the forms module. You can actually start anywhere you like in this module flow. If you want to start with an activity, you can go from activity and jump directly to observations. You can also go via activity to inspection and audits and thereby do events. You can actually also go from forms to events and so on. So this is just to show that regardless what we handle inside SERTICA, whether it being external audits like ISM from external parties, port state controls, SIRE inspections for the oil and gas tanker industry, ride ship inspection from in the bulk segment, or if it's OVID inspections from the offshore segment, all of this is handled in the same way inside SERTICA via activity, inspection and audits, event reports. Sometimes we get this questions, don't you have a port state deficiency module? And then I say, yes, we handle it how the way that you configure the activity event reporting features within SERTICA. So, and I think that's a strength within SERTICA because it's the same way we handle all of the issues that you are facing as an operator. You don't have to go somewhere special to do reports of port state and in a different place to do ISM audits. It's actually the same way regardless what you're facing. Today, we are talking about internal inspections, technical and ISM audits, ISPS audits, and so on. There are some things inside SERTICA that needs to be configured in order for this to work. So first of all, what we're going to look for today is sort of what are the tools for you to plan, execute, and follow up on the inspection. Here we have the action board, the inspection list and the inspection app, the event browser and task lists, and of course also our analytics tools and dashboards where we can pull out the data from your inspections and observations that you have executed, meaning that we can do the analysis on it. In order to get this to work in a way that add values for you, we need to have some basic configuration in place inside SERTICA. So we need to define what is called activity groups, activity types, event types, inspection jobs, inspection list types. And in order to get the basic configuration to work, we also need to have rating types in place, group codes in place, inspection areas, and standard references in place. If all of this is configured, then my opinion is that we have a relatively strong tool for you to plan inspection, execute inspection, and also analyze and rectify and implement preventive actions, preventive measures to prevent observations and breakdowns and so on in the future. We are going to go through all of this today. And as I mentioned here, there are some example slides at the end that will be part of the handout when we are done. Now we go a little bit more in detail here, because this is a sort of a process flow example for inspections. Let's start there. So we have here an activity that could be an internal ISM audit. If you have 20 vessels, then you need to do 20 internal ISM audits annually. Those can be planned, and you do that via your activity management. So you can plan your ISM audits according to your resources, where the vessels are, and so on in the projections. To these activities, we can add an inspection list. So that could be a predefined list of inspection jobs. Questionnaires is maybe a better word in this case. A list of questions that you want to ask the crew when you do internal ISM audits. When you execute your inspection list, we are using the ratings. We go through the questions, we give them non-conformities, observations, and so on. We can either do that in the application or via the inspection app. That can end up in events, and in some cases, it can also end up directly as a maintenance job. Then you can, if you are a little bit advanced maybe, use the sub-events and then go to the job, or you can use the event directly, and then it actually stops there. And then the event report is your final sort of stage of processing, analyzing the observation. And then you can go further into job and procurement and so on, but we are not going to do this in this presentation. So this is sort of a very detailed flow on how it can work. So one of the tools to monitor your plan when you enter into a new year, that we are in December now, so you are entering into 2025 very soon. And I would expect all of you already now to have an inspection plan for which vessel do we visit when to do ISM audits. It could also be pre-docking audits. It could also be mooring audits. It could be navigational audits. It could be technical inspections. It could be that you already know now when do we want to plan our SIRE inspections? When do we want to plan our right ship inspections? All of this can be planned via a load sheet if you like, or directly in the application. And the plan will show up in this Gantt chart in the action board, so you can see when are the windows due, when are we within a window for an inspection that we need to execute, meaning that travel plans and all of this can be made well in advance. The action board not only shows the plan for activities, but when you have registered observation, it also shows when are the windows for the due date of these events that you need to close out. You can organize your action board according to selected units. So typically, a marine superintendent is responsible for a number of vessels in the fleet. So you can decide that you only want to see certain data for certain vessels in the fleet. And we arrange it again according to unit selections, as mentioned, activity groups, and activity types or event types. So going back to the slide before where we had some configurations that we needed to do, the way we do the configuration will have an impact on how SERTICA looks like when you are using it. Then for execution, in this case, in this example, the inspections, we have the inspection lists. And those are based on these inspection list types that I briefly touched upon. So what is the inspection list? This is the actual inspections that we are going to do. So we have a list on the unit screen, on the unit side, for all the inspection lists that are registered, all the planned inspections, and we can show all the inspection lists via the or organized in the workflow status. So inspection list can be open, it can be started and ongoing, or it can be closed. So we can see the entire history of all the inspections that we have done. The inspection list, of course, includes all the inspection jobs to execute or the questions to execute. And when we have completed the inspection list, we can see what is the outcome of the inspection. It can either be a number of jobs, which is then linked, of course, to components in your equipment structure. It can also be a number of events, depending on how you have defined your inspection list types. So based on the rating, let's say you have an inspection a question where you give the rating a nonconformity, we can set up the system such that it automatically generates either a job or an event for the Sorry, I just had an incoming call. When an inspection is started, it is possible to synchronize the inspection to our mobile device. And you can see some pictures here. You can see here that on my mobile device, I have, in this example here, 3 inspection lists that has been started on this vessel. It's probably not the same person, but I have some pre-vetting for chapter 2 and chapter 3, and then I have an internal audit ongoing. And in the inspection list in the app, you can see all the jobs that is belonging to this inspection list. It's a rather seamless synchronization. Of course, there is some technical device management that needs to be set up. We will not go into that in this inspection, but if anyone has technical problems in terms of setting up the inspection app, then please call your project manager or me, and then we will figure out how to set it up. So execution. We of course want to advertise the inspection app because I think that is a very nifty tool to make the inspections more efficient. So what are the key features in the inspection app? Of course, the mobile integrations, it's seamless as long as it's set up. Then it's very easy to synchronize the inspection, the started inspection inside SERTICA with the inspection app. Onboard data recording will be super efficient. You can walk around with the mobile device, either a tablet or a phone, and then you can do these instant recordings of ratings and your remarks, and you can use, of course, the camera on the mobile device to take pictures to document your observation. And there are also some filtering functions. So let's say that you have created these inspection areas, which is part of the basic configuration. You can filter that now I am on the foredeck of the vessel, on the forecastle. I want to see all the inspection jobs filtered that are in the forward part of the ship, and thereby optimize your route around in the vessel. And then follow up, sort of when the inspection is completed, SERTICA is able to compile an outcome report of the inspection, and that report includes a summary of the facts of the inspections, how many observations was rated with OK, how many non-conformities, how many comments did you put in there. And we can print out, as said here, if we have pictures, the pictures are shown in the report according to how the rating have been done. I will show you an example when we go into to SERTICA also to show you how this works. Then another follow-up is of course the use of the task list. In the task list again, you can see open events, you can see open defect jobs, and depending on how you have configured it, you can have event types shown in the task list that are awaiting your action. So depending on the assignment of the events will show up in the task list as well. So we have many ways to follow up, and the task list is maybe, for me, the easiest one, but we actually also have this event browser. So if you are using the inspection feature such that you generate events as the outcome of the inspection, then in the event browser we can see that we have all events for the selected vessels according to their workflow status, or also according to the activity groups. In this case, I have highlighted internal audits and inspections, and we can see that the observations of internal audits is marked, and we can see them according to activity groups, event types, year and month. So we can actually drill down and figure out, oh, what kind of observations did we do in 22 in August, to figure out what was our observations there. And here and I think maybe Emma, you will probably also mention this, but as sort of a hot tip or a guidance note is that be very careful on making these activity groups. Make these activity groups so they reflect the reality of your operation. It needs to be understandable from the crew so they understand the browser structure, but of course also for you in the office. So having an activity grouping that reflects your business, your segment is very important.
We have a question, Troels.
Yes.
Saying, I still wonder what the fundamental difference is between an inspection list and an activity with event reports.
Well, you are the question is actually okay, because an inspection list can be a standalone thing. You can make an inspection list and just plan it without the activity. That is correct. But the inspection list is something that belongs to the vessel itself, where the activity is also something that is reflected on the office. So when you are an office employee, if you have made an activity and linked an inspection, then you can actually monitor what is planned from the office and registered to be executed, where the inspection list only resides at the unit. So I would say, from a fleet management, multiple vessel perspective, it's a benefit to use the activity to do the planning. That would be sort of the overall answer to that. And then I think we have Emma here. So when I in 2 seconds turn over the stage to Emma, I think maybe you can also elaborate a little bit on what do you see on activity used as planning for inspections, or is it necessary, or how does that work for you? That would be an interesting topic just to touch upon. Now we have a question on it. The final thing I want to show on follow-up is, of course, the analytics and dashboards. You can pull out, based on your inspection types, your activity types, your event types, how you are benchmarking against industry standards, let's say against ISM, against SIRE, against RightShip. You can do these data pullouts that can tell you about the performance that is important for you. What is the KPIs that is interesting for you, and you can design this yourself. Now I will turn over the stage to Emma, and hopefully this overall fly-in have given a bit of an overview, high level, I agree, where Emma can put some more context to it in terms of real shipping. So on to you, Emma.
Okay, thank you so much. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about our journey towards using the inspection app. So before we started using the inspection module and the app, we still had an activity to have the kind of planning with the window that you want for these types of activities, like internal audits, master's review, and technical inspections of the ships. However, we had a form that was attached that was the actual like checklist, which you should, with all the items that you should check. So you did the form, and then you recorded your events. And you had to record your events from the activity to have them linked to the form. And you also had to record the events first and then complete your checklist if you wanted your observation on the same kind of printout as your checklist. And the checklist going on board was often forgotten to bring it, or you would only have it on your laptop, making it hard to take with you going around the ship. And using a form, it's quite hard to kind of measure or quantify your answers. Because of course you can use these like custom fields, but they are not enough to cover all your answers. And I believe that this is a very common thing, that you have a system prior to getting SERTICA, and then you have this setup of a checklist with recording the observations in some other way. So I think it's quite common that you try to mimic that when you start to use SERTICA. And that, I believe, was what happened to us, that we were trying we have this nice system, but we're still using a quite what can I say, time-consuming way of doing it. So after we implemented the inspection module and started using the app, we can see that the recording process is much easier, because you, depending on the rating that you give on a question or an inspection job, in this case, it will automatically generate either an event or a PMS job. For our technical inspections of the ship, we actually have decided to generate PMS jobs. And for the internal audits and master's review, we generate events. And the checklist is never forgotten, because you always have it in your phone. And sometimes now I'm getting into technical things here, but sometimes you kind of forget to start your inspection, so you don't synchronize it before you go. But then you just call somebody in the office who starts the inspection, and you can synchronize when you're on board, and you have a checklist there. Voila, it's very easy. And also we have been able to start measure and quantify our inspections in a whole different way. So if we go to the next slide, I will just, so before we started using the SERTICA inspection app, we had an average observation of 0.9 per technical inspection. This means that the technical superintendents would go on board and sometimes find nothing to have a remark on an observation. And that we knew that that is really not the case. But the process of recording things was very hard. And as they ended up as events, and the technical superintendents many times feels like, well, why should I have an event on something that is actually a breakdown on equipment? So it's a job, it belongs in the PMS. So now that we have changed this setup, we see that we have moved up to an average of 4 observations per technical superintendent visit. And we believe that that is a great step forward. So if we can go to the next slide, I will share some of my most important learnings from this process. And I think it's very, before you start setting up your inspection list and these job groups and inspection areas, you need to have the purpose of your inspection very clear to you, because the system is fantastic. You can build it and assign group codes and references and so on, so that you can measure your report and you can get analytics from it. But then you need to have it very clear to you. What do we want to measure? What is it that we want to gain from this? So I believe that is the first thing that you need to kind of establish. What kind of KPIs do we want for this? And then when you have that clear to you, this is what we want to measure, this is the KPIs that we have, this is what we want to quantify. You can start setting up your group codes to serve that purpose. For us, for example, we have group codes for SIRE 2.0. So for the technical superintendents, the visit reports or technical inspections, we have assigned group codes based on SIRE 2.0, so that we can see and kind of compare their findings towards vetting inspectors' findings. And I think that's really, it's been very given a lot of insight to us. And then when we get to the inspection areas, I believe it's very important that you actually have a superintendent who would normally do this inspection on board in the process of setting up the areas and assigning the different areas to the different inspection jobs, because they are the ones who will be on the vessel. They will know how they want the questions to appear, on what area do they want this question, and or to which rank do they want to ask this question. So have them involved in this process. It will save you a lot of time from correcting it afterwards. And it will also make the app more useful to them. And I also would like to say that when you do this, it's when you set up these inspections jobs and lists, it's a great way of reviewing and improving your internal audit process and checklists. So take the opportunity to do that. We have done so, and we think it's turned out great, actually. And then don't be afraid of feedback, and don't always see it as negative. I mean, for me, I build a system to make the job easier for everybody in the office and on board. So kind of embrace that feedback that you get, and as the system, it's a great system because you can actually change things all the time. It's a living system. So embrace the feedback, update, try to make it as best as you can, and that will also make more people fond of the app and actually using it. Yeah, I think that's all I have to say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I just saw some comments on the activities not being in the task list. We monitor our activities in the task list via dashboards. So that is a way to go. So we can see how many are due in 30 days, how many are overdue, how many are pending closeout, and so on. So that is a way to go.
Okay, yeah, that's correct. That's the way. Thank you, Emma, for sharing. I have a question. You mentioned that it's very important to identify the purpose, and maybe you touched a little bit upon it because you mentioned that you have set up group codes for your technical inspections towards the SIRE because that's important for you. But could you elaborate a little bit more on the purpose for you? You mentioned that you wanted to make it more efficient, but did you have a sort of, I don't know, burning platform, or what was your desire to make it more efficient? Yes. Measure against SIRE? Yes. Was there more in the purpose there?
I think the main purpose is to have a gain value from these inspections. We wanted to see the actual technical status of the ships, and how can we do that? How can we set it up so that we see which components do we find faults on, or on so on, when the technical superintendents go on board. And I believe that was the main reason that why we went for the inspection app, because we had the possibility of linking our observations to the PMS. Yeah.
So that's a key feature for you.
Yeah.
Then my next question would be, very focused on technical inspections being linked to SIRE. And now maybe I'm cheating a little bit, because I have also looked at your ISM questions, and they have a different group code than your technical inspections, and they are not SIRE. So my question would be, why is it not important for you to measure your ISM audits against SIRE? Or are you doing that in another way? Would be my question.
We're not really doing that in another way.
Okay.
That mainly comes from that when I set up the inspection app for the internal audits, the HSC department, they wanted to see the kind of answers to the different jobs related to ISM chapters.
Okay.
So that was what they wanted to measure.
Okay.
So therefore, that is the setup that
That's
we
the
have
reason.
the group in.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So as simple as that.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because from my point of view, I would potentially think that in an ownership or a ship owner company like you would need to benchmark against a higher common denominator, being either port state or ISM or SIRE, what is important for your segment. And you don't have to answer that, but I will ask in the poll later on, what is the governing benchmarking for the participants in the audience? So that will be interesting. So I think it's interesting that you had this. For technical, we want to go for SIRE. For ISM, we wanted to do a measure on ISM. That's very appreciated, very much appreciated, Emma. Okay, we have 10 minutes left. That's of course not enough to do a lot of demo, and I can tell you that I've made the inspection app work, so I can actually show it. So I'm happy. So let's jump into the demo right away. So we make sure that that works. I will start sharing my screen now. So here
Yes, we can see it.
You see my just need to close this one. And so what we have been talking about just briefly was all the things that needs to be set in place in order for the system to work. So here, I will just start here on the inspection list type. So here we can see that I have predefined a list of inspection list type, internal audits. You could say some of them are a little bit double up, because this is an ISM inspection, ISPS, management of change, pre-dock inspection, right ship inspections. Then I have a whole bunch of SIRE 2.0 pre-vetting. I have decided, from my sort of understanding, it would probably be better to split it up in smaller chapters, because there are 400 questions, and maybe the person going on board only has the expertise in some of the chapters. So you can actually make inspection lists that are dedicated to specific chapters, and on the activity you can add as many inspection lists as you like. So instead of having one inspection list with 450 questions that you have to complete, you have maybe 10 inspection lists and say, okay, I was able to do chapter 2, 5, and 6. It can also be TMSA evaluation, and here I have some examples, which are actually Emma's examples for internal audits and technical inspection. It can be many more that suits your segment. In order to fill up these inspection lists, we need to have our inspection jobs. You can see here in my system, I have more than 1,000 inspection jobs covering ISM, SIRE, TMSA, port state controls, and so on. I will just keep the inspection app alive here on the other side. Sorry, to make sure it works. So you need to build this library of inspection jobs. Then we talked about rating types. We also need to have rating types, and that can of course differ from inspection to inspection what you want to do. My own experience was actually that between the HSEQ department and the technical department, there was a lot of differences in do we call it non-conformity or observations, or yes, no, and not good enough, or stuff like that. In the previous job I had, we ended up having a common rating types so we had a common understanding across the organization. We are rating with non-conformity observations and so on, and everybody understood what that meant, regardless whether it was technical or an HSQE audit as such. Whether that applies to you is of course your own choice. I just wanted to share my experience on that. Then of course we talked about inspection areas for these jobs. You mentioned, Emma, that you should have a technical inspector who is actually doing the jobs to define these inspection areas. And I have made a suggestion here. I have made sort of a prefix, because I also think it is important actually to have inspection areas in terms of the crew ranks on board, because in the app you can filter according to the inspection area. So if you are with a master, it's nice to be able to filter question that is related to the master, as well as locations on board, and maybe also documents. I can see that you have, Emma, both document location, is it ISM, is it drug and alcohol policies, and then you have physical locations. I don't know what your take, Emma. You can comment on the idea of having crew ranks as inspection areas in order to filter in the inspection.
We actually don't use crew ranks to filter.
No.
We use the area.
Yeah.
Our vessels are quite small, and
Yeah, okay.
we don't have that many ranks in each department.
Okay.
So, and for the ISM code, we believe that almost anyone should be able to.
Okay, yeah. So thereby the inspection area against ISM code is more important for you than the rank, because everybody has to answer the questions.
Yeah.
Okay, understood. Perfect. Then I mentioned that activity group is an important feature to set up, and this is also an example of activity groups that have been set up in my system in order to do what I want in terms of showing the structure that I want to keep track of, internal, external docking processes and stuff like that. All of this, I think, with the time that you have left, I will jump to more specific demo on how to do this, how to start an inspection, how to synchronize to the app, because I have examples in the handout of all these event types and rating types and so on. And then, of course, you're always welcome to contact me to set it up. I have now jumped to a vessel, and I will jump to the inspection list screen. And here you can see that I have a couple of inspections that are closed, and I have some ongoing. Those are the ones that are started. So what I will do now is that I will pull over this screen. Then I hope you see the inspection app. And you can see here that now I have the list of inspection that is ongoing in the system. Maybe I have completed a few, so I will just do a synchronization of the inspection app just for sake of good order. That's nice. Why is this failing now? So preparing this, here we go. So now I am synchronizing between SERTICA and the mobile device, and of course it's a little bit heavy because I have so many open inspections. Typically, I assume you would not have 8 ongoing inspections for a vessel. But let's go to one of them and then see how the app works. I will go to the Target Shipping Tech example. And here we can see the list of questions that we have in the mobile device. I think it's 94 questions or something like that you have for your technical inspections. I can filter here and say I want to filter on the inspection area. I want to go on dock now navigational and see there's one question regarding the gyro compass. Here I can give the rating, okay, observation or non-conformity. I get the warning that I need to put in something here, and I will do this. I can also take a picture. I will just take a picture now. Sorry for this. I will use the photo. Now we have taken a picture. I have made a comment and I will go done. My filter is the only one, so you notice that I cannot use the browser buttons on top, but then I can go back and say I will reset all. Now I have the filter, then I can go through, and on the upper right, maybe I can show it here, on the upper right, I can just go down. So when I've done with this, I can go through and say, okay, okay, okay. And then on this one, I will do a non-conformity. I will do this, and I will go okay. So this is how the app works. And now I want to synchronize this. I just want to make sure it was the TS Tech example. I will show you this one. So now I will synchronize because I don't want to complete 94 jobs in the app while you are watching it. So I can do something a little bit faster in the SERTICA application when it's done with the synchronization. That's done now. I will go back here. I will refresh this screen. So now I had a refreshment. Let me see. It was the TS Tech example. So what I will do now is just because I have done some, I will show the inspection job history here. And you can see that what I've done in the app is now closed. So just for sake of good order, I will finalize the rest of the questions with an OK, apply to unrated, finish that. So now I'm actually, you could say I have executed my inspection. On the inspection app inside SERTICA, of course, you see here the question that you're answering, the rating as we saw on the app. And now I am actually ready because all the jobs have been closed out. I'm able to finalize the inspection now. So I will go and do that. And you can see here that this page has been set up to create 2 jobs when I finalize it. I will just say no to this one and then go to my report and print the report. With small pictures. So now the system generates the printout of the report. It's 4 pages. I can scroll down and I can see now that the observations that I've done and the pictures that I took is part of the report. So this is how it executes. When I finalize, it will now generate the 2 jobs, and we can find them in our follow-up tools. We only have 5 minutes left, and I actually want to ask the final question in the poll. So if you can start the presentation again, Simone, and then coming a little bit back to the discussions on what is the purpose of using the inspection app. I would like to answer the audience. To which standards do you benchmark your performance for internal inspection and audits? Emma touched upon it. They want to benchmark the technical inspections against SIRE, but the ISM against the SIRE. So my question is it the ISM code? Is it port state codes? Is it SIRE, RightShip, or others? That will be interesting for me to know here before we finish. And then, Simone, while they're answering, is there anything in the chat that deserves an answer? I saw there was some chatting on there should be an activity browser, there should be the activity should be in the task list.
Yeah, that was mainly like wishes for the system. So
good.
We have noted that, and then we'll look at it afterwards.
Yeah.
And otherwise, there are some questions, just technical questions to the app.
Okay.
But I think we're running out of time, so I think we will look into the questions afterwards and get back to those who have asked it, and then otherwise they can contact you or the project manager.
Yes. And yeah, and I think it's really clear that the ISM code is the main, the high scorer of how to follow up, which makes perfect sense. The other codes are very segment specific. And it's interesting for me to know, because that is sort of how to build our best practices and give you advice going forward. So thank you very much. So how can we help you going forward? I believe that I have something to contribute with in terms of setting up the system to fulfill the purpose that you might define for your inspections. So being against port states, ISM, SIRE, RightShip, that would be interesting. If you have any needs towards setting this up to get more return on investment on the inspection module, please reach out to me, and then we might be able to do something. 1 minute left for questions. I don't see anything in the chat.
We can just take the last one. There is a question. Can we amend the report after the submission if the auditor has made an error?
When there is a possibility to restart the inspection list and write more observation comments in there, so that can be done. Yes, there are some restrictions, but you can actually add more observations to the inspection.
Perfect. Okay, well, we would like to say thank you all for attending this webinar, and thank you all for your suggestions in the chat. We will look into that and look into the questions that we have not been asking. So thank you very much, and we hope to see you at the next webinar. Bye.
Have a nice day.
Thank you. Bye.